Hello again, everybody. I am Brian Farmer, as you already know, and I am here on the quarantine edition of the GroveCast. I am here, though, on my office in the corner of South 29 and M55, and we just trying to get by like everybody else is.
Wait, let me open up my window because I might be able to hear you.
You
If I
know
just
what? I mean, how far away are you, man? I thought about this. We could do this from our porches, probably, couldn't we? I'm going to yell out with an air horn here in a second.
right. Yeah, I mean, literally, it's what, probably a quarter of a mile?
Not if that, right?
Yeah,
We could drive our golf cart over there and then not need to put any gas in it. I can tell you that much.
right.
Yeah, quarter mile, probably one street down from the church right here. I am honored to be sitting here down, even though this is social distancing at its finest, because
Right.
even though we're a quarter mile apart, we're still on Zoom talking.
That's right. That's right.
My dear colleague and friend, Chad Zaucha from First Baptist Church of Cadillac, the lead pastor. What does lead pastor mean, by the way?
What does lead pastor mean? It means when people are not happy, they come to you. That's what it means.
They are led to your office. Is that how it is? Yeah.
Pastor Mike is on an NFL team when like the backup quarterback is the most popular guy on the team, right? Yes, that's Pastor Mike for you. But
I need Pastor Mike.
that's right.
Yeah. I need one of those. I've been looking for one for a while there. So yeah, it's got to be no. And you are blessed. I mean, I give him all kinds of trouble. He just lives right over here too, not too.
That's
far
right.
from us. So we better be careful. He can probably hear us, right?
But that's probably true. That's
yeah.
probably true.
Well,
Lead pastor, I think, as you know, I follow in some big shoes. Dave McMahon, who was at First Baptist Church for 36 years and led so faithfully, and just left a very large imprint on the community. And so, yeah, that's not easy. But boy, we have such a solid team of staff and volunteers, and so yeah, it's a wonderful place to be. So,
well, you definitely walked right into a great situation. Everybody that I know of that goes to that church is all solid, great people, and they love you. You're making your mark on your own as well, my friend, doing a great job over there.
Thank you.
I appreciate it very much. Glad you're here because I needed a Buckeye fan up here.
Hey, that's right. Let me show the folks. I did this just for this occasion.
Thank you. Man knows how to make an impression right here. That's for sure. I don't know how long it took me to find another Buckeye fan while I was here, because I never, you couldn't find anybody that would admit to it. They would just say, no, it's either Sparty or U of M. That's about it.
Right.
I'm not even going there because we're trying, this is a family show, right? So we want to make sure we keep it clean. But so you came up here, we're going to get into how the church has been dealing with this, but this is more, okay. I'm doing a string since, we can't go to the hospitals and the nursing homes and visit people. We can call them on the phone, but there's some time here. And I thought I've been binge watching some stuff in between, still studying to preach, right? Like we have to do. But right. I thought, man, I want to get back in and talk to some of my pastor friends. I'm even going to go back and talk to some that have already been on here with us before, but I thought I have wanted to get you on for a long time and to tell your story. But so tell us in 38,000 words or less, your history, your call to work, your call to ministry and all that. No, but I mean, I know your story, but what led you where you're at this moment?
Well, in just the Ohio connection, I was born in Columbus, Ohio, and my dad is an Ohio State graduate.
Put our hands over our heart when you say that.
That's right. So my dad's actually from Warren, Ohio, but he went to Ohio State. My mom was from Columbus, Ohio, and so they met at a church, at a Nazarene church in Columbus, Ohio, and they were married there. And we moved when I was in kindergarten to Lima, Ohio, northwest part of the state, kind of between Dayton and Toledo, and lived there till I was in the 8th grade. And I grew up in the Church of the Nazarene, so got some Nazarene roots for certain.
Amen.
We moved briefly for about a year and a half to El Paso, Texas. My dad worked for Westinghouse when he was in Lima. They had a plant in Juarez, Mexico, and so he got transferred there. And it was a tough time to be in junior high and, kind of plucked out of what was familiar in Northwest Ohio and then living in a border town in West Texas. And but in that time period, a gentleman that probably some of your viewers will know named John Lehman. He worked with my dad somehow previously and had a position at Rexair that he thought my dad was suited for. So it was the summer before my sophomore year of high school. We moved to Cadillac. And yeah, so our roots go pretty deep here. And my wife, Christy, she grew up at First Baptist Church of Cadillac. And the interesting thing was that my parents started attending First Baptist while I was in college. She went to Taylor University. I went to Olivet Nazarene University. We graduated from high school together, but didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to each other. And then First Baptist had a youth internship position the summer after we both graduated. And so we both applied for the same position. And it just so happens I got the job. And but we worked together, struck up a relationship, and we were married then the very next summer. And then that youth internship position became a part-time youth pastor position while I commuted to Grand Rapids Baptist Seminary for a Master of Divinity degree. And then it turned into a full-time youth pastor position. And then they expanded the role to have some pastoral responsibilities in the greater congregation. And yeah, we were here for 12 years thereabouts in that capacity. And for the end of those 12 years, just really God gave us a heart for church planting, and felt God's leading to do something along those lines. And we were working with someone in our denomination who works in the Pacific Southwest. And on one of our visits, he said, hey, you know what? There's a small church in Ojai, California that is kind of struggling. It wouldn't be a plant situation from the beginning, but it would be a restart. And at first, it really wasn't what we had in mind, but we visited anyway, and grew to love the people and love the community, and the Holy Spirit led us there, and we were able to serve in that church in Southern California, about 20 miles east of Ventura, if you know Southern California at all. Okay. And we were there about 12 years. And toward the end of that 12 years, Pastor Dave started to contemplate retirement and reached out to us about the possibility of coming back to Cadillac. And at first, our kids were still in high school and didn't really seem like a good fit at the time. But as time went on, again, since the Holy Spirit was leading us back here, and this July, it'll be 3 years. It'll be 3 years. And so we got two kids, Josh and Anna. They're both juniors at Olivet Nazarene. They're home with us right now, which is part of the reason I'm in the basement right now, as you can probably tell. And this has kind of become my my hideaway, my bunker. And so we're kind of navigating. The house got a lot smaller real fast. There's 4 of us here now, and but we're actually treasuring the time for all of us to be together. Weren't planning on that. Weren't anticipating that. But they're kind of trying to figure out how the rest of this college year plays out, doing some online things and trying to finish strong. So yeah, that's the short of it.
Olivet hasn't shut down for the whole year, but I mean they pretty much, because they get out early in May, because Celebrate Life is canceled out there.
Exactly. You know, I think there's still a few students on campus for various reasons, but there are no active classes on campus as far as I know. It's all online now, and which is, some majors are easier than others. You know, my son is a political science major, a little bit easier for him. My daughter is a civil engineering major, a little tougher for her, I think, with some of her classes. But they're making it. They're making it happen. So
they're political science. So is that going to be the future president right there, maybe?
Oh, I don't know. He's interested in going to law school at some point. So that's kind of where but what that looks like beyond, I don't think he knows at this point either. So.
Well, the good thing about political science, it's kind of like it's a broad degree. You can do a lot with that. So.
Yeah, you can, but it's going to require more money, I think, for more school is the thing. So, yeah.
Well, you know, wouldn't you think that a pastor should have a minor in that sometimes? At times.
I'm not going to touch that one. You're on your own with that.
I didn't mean to go down that road right now. So you're telling me you beat your wife, Christy, out for the intern job at the church, and she still married you?
She still did. That tells you something about her character. You know, she's a great woman.
About your influence or something, man. I'll tell you, that's impressive.
I could not ask for a better life mate, ministry teammate. She's as good as it gets. So very blessed.
She waves at me when she's walking down our road, so she's number one with me, I think.
Yeah, no, she loves to walk down that road. You bet.
Most people see me coming, they put their hand over their face, or they look the other way, or pretend like they fell, you know, or something.
Exactly.
They wave at me, and so I appreciate that very much. Well, and being here at First Baptist, and like I say, and this is not me doing this because I'm looking at you. You're making your mark already. You already have put your heart into being there, and they love you. I have never heard anybody ever say that they don't.
Oh,
And
thank you.
so I appreciate that. And I would defend you anyway if they didn't. I'd beat it into them if they didn't understand it. But all right,
Yeah.
I knew, and we struck up. We have a lot in common anyway, so that
Right.
helped. But I enjoy being around you, enjoy your company, enjoy hearing you preach, and
Thanks.
that leads us into this because you get called to preach. You're not sure if it's going to be a pastor or not. You don't know what's going to happen, and then you get called into pastoring. Things happen that you don't plan. Lots of stuff happens. I mean, the first funeral you have to do, or the first time you're sitting with a family with a sick loved one. These times we've been in the last 2-3 weeks, I don't know that anybody could write a book on how to do that. And you're navigating through it. But what I appreciate with you guys, you were one of the first churches in our community that just went right to the point and said, we're done. We're going to stay apart, even though it's hard, it's going to be, but for the health of everybody. What led you to make such a good, fast leading? Because you led the way for our community with that. What led you?
That was a hard decision. It really was. And I, at the time, I think there was, probably a little bit of pushback. People didn't understand, but I think based on the information that we had at the time, we knew that we were going to miss meeting together, and there were ramifications of that. But I think we quickly just recognized too that for the sake of loving our neighbor, that's what we kept coming back to. It's like, hey, what's the way we can best love our neighbor in this? And I think we understood at that point too that you could have this but not recognize that you have it, and pass it on to those who are vulnerable. And especially with those who are most vulnerable in our congregation, we just didn't want to put them at any more risk than we had to. So that was kind of the thinking behind that. I'm blessed with a really solid team of elders, and so we met on that Friday night. Can't remember the date, but we met on that Friday night, and we looked at it from a bunch of different angles, but that's kind of how we settled, on that. And it was hard. You kind of walked away from it when you recognize it. Initially we said, hey, we would do this up until Easter Sunday. Yeah. I think that at the time was going to be like 4 Sundays, and it was like, ooh, yeah, that's a big deal, and now of course it's been, extended longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the time, not 100% that, this was the absolute right thing to do, but based on the information that we had and the team that met together, that was the decision that we made.
And it had to be tough because, as I say, nobody had gone to that level yet around here anyway, because we weren't sure. It was all so new. Because,
right, exactly.
To be honest, I was looking at it like, okay, it's some media hype. Yeah, it's been bad in other countries, but what's really going to happen here? We need to be careful. And then the longer it went, now right now, it's like, I wish we may have drug our feet a little bit. We were just trying to make sure we had that first Sunday, that the 22nd there. No, the 15th. We did have it the 15th, but they haven't since then. And I think we've done the best we could do. It's
absolutely, absolutely. And I think it was a good example of. There were different decisions that were made, especially that first Sunday. And I think it's important that, we support, we encourage, we respect, those, even if they're different decisions. I think where I had a one Facebook post that I know wasn't universally embraced, but there were some people who were putting it out as, faith over fear kind of thing, where it's like, hey, we're a church that's going to be full of faith. We're not going to be afraid of this. And so, if you truly have faith, you're going to be a church that meets together. And I said, whoa, slow down just for a second, because as we know, to make the decision not to meet takes quite a bit of faith as well, in terms of the uncertainty of it. And as we're all discovering together, the financial aspect of that. And so especially that first Sunday, whether you chose to meet, not choose to meet, with the information that we had at that point, can absolutely respect either way. But, that's where it's like, yeah, don't couch it in terms of, well, this church has faith and this church is afraid and that kind of thing. So.
I agree with that. Isn't that how the party lines start getting drawn when something happens, and everybody means well.
Yeah.
We throw a lot of words around. Sometimes we got to be really careful of, because said it takes a lot more faith to do what we're doing, because you understand what we're doing. We're not meeting. We're not taking up an offering. We're not meeting in groups to look to each other. We're not, and there's still, I think it's helped us realize how to be more convenient and be more mobile even because we still are gathering. We're still doing Hebrews 10:25. We're still assembling. That's why I love technology, you know. When you were talking, it led me to this quote that I keep referring to that I kept on my phone. It says, when schools, governments, and businesses close to combat the spread of a disease, a church's decision to gather anyway is not merely a choice not to join the other institutions of society, but it's a choice to work to undo what the entire community is united to try to accomplish.
That's a good quote. Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
man,
good quote.
I keep that to stay focused because we're just undoing everything everybody's doing, and that's not
Correct.
a good look for the church, right?
That's correct. Yeah, good call. Good quote.
Yeah. And so I think we go by that. And so now, how are you navigating through this, still meeting together? Because I know you're probably as busy now as if we were still meeting.
Yeah, I mean, it is a busy season. It's different for sure. I think the busyness now is trying to creatively figure out how to stay connected. I'm so thankful for technology like Zoom, like Facebook. You know, for all it you know, those technologies can be harmful for certain, but they can also be redeemed for good purposes. And you know, I think for us, there have been some great interpersonal connections that have happened by way of phone calls and by way of you know, just connecting with people in ways that we might not had if it was just business as usual. I think we recognize even more how much we need each other, and we need relationship in ways that we may not have if it was just business as usual. So I do see good coming out of this. I think we're going to appreciate each other a whole lot more.
Yeah.
I think that a couple things happened right on the leading edge of this that helped us. One was we made a big jump to a new church management software. We made this jump to Planning Center and some of the different modules of it, and one of them was people. And so, and it helped us really get a handle on our congregation, you know, the in terms of being really well connected that way. And then we took that and we divided up our elders. We divided up the congregation alphabetically, so a different elder was responsible for different sections of the alphabet. And boy, I tell you what, that's really taken a burden off of me and helped me not feel like it's all on me to make sure that everybody's covered, you know. And so to see, and one of the things about this people component of Planning Center is that there's a place to make little notes about contacts that have been made. And so, you know, I can recognize, you know, I can see the activity of our elders and who they've contacted and what the report is from them. And that's really given me some peace of mind, you know, to know that they're doing their jobs, and it's that people are covered, taken care of. And it's not perfect. I'm sure we're not totally hitting everybody we need to hit, but we're sure working at it. So that all happened kind of right on the leading edge of this, and the timing was important.
That's fantastic. One thing I've realized is how we need to do something like that. So we started just in the last 2 weeks trying to find the ability to do online giving, which that sounds like an 8-track player now, because I feel like, and the only reason what held me back was I didn't want to look greedy. Okay, if we can't get here, let's keep and I fought against that for a long time until something like this happens, because a lot of folks are like, I don't even have any checks, and I'm not going to mail cash to the church to get my offering or tithes in.
Right.
So, it's a convenience kind of thing. So
sure,
it pushes you into things like what you're talking about with the software management. We've started looking at a couple of them ourselves to how to incorporate all that. But I think, doesn't it put us in a mindset of how can we don't have to work harder, just smarter, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just, you know, this is probably a side conversation, but Christy's done a lot of work with the whole Planning Center thing. So if you had any questions about that, I mean, she'd be glad to fill you in on that. A lot of trial and error, lessons learned the hard way, and a lot of phone calls to the Planning Center people. But there are really good tools out there. That's not the only one, but it's the one that we landed on, and we've been pretty happy with it so far. So.
You know, I was surprised, Chad, to see how many there are and what they do. There are so many of them. I get notifications and emails like you do, I'm sure, and
sure.
You know, but when you're really digging to find something, you have to trust them. There's a lot more out there than I even realized. So
exactly.
next time I walking, I'll stop and ask her some questions about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I should be glad for that.
Thanks. So how are your meeting online then, right? Did I see both of you together? You're doing a co kind of thing for Sunday morning?
You know, we've been doing a couple different things. We've been doing much like you, kind of a daily check-in, you know, devotional thought, meditation, prayer. about 6 minutes. We've been trying to do those, post it on Facebook, and then email it to each person in our database, and so that for those who aren't on Facebook, like my folks aren't on Facebook, so for them to get it, they have to get the email, click on the YouTube link for it, and we get to cover, I think, probably the vast majority of our congregation that way. We still have a few people in our congregation who don't have email addresses, and so that's a little bit trickier. So we do that daily. On Sundays at 11 o'clock, we do about a 40-minute sitting in our kitchen, kind of collaborative, kind of thing. The first part we collaborate, we do a prayer time together. And then for the last half of it, kind of a simplified sermon, but again, sitting at my kitchen table. The thing we haven't figured out at this point is certainly, live music, or we did something the first week with some recorded music, and that worked well.
Yeah.
Just trying to, find our sweet spot there, I think. And then something slipped my mind. I was just going to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen what you've done with that, because I've been checking. What's been good about this whole thing is a lot of people are online, and so I get to go to church when I'm done. And I don't know. I think at first some of them may have been from at home, or you're doing them from your house. You're not going.
Yeah, just from my kitchen.
Yeah, I like that idea. And what I like is I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of other pastors and stuff, but the thing is, you don't want to miss out on your people getting to see their shepherd. Giving them something to go on that Sunday morning, feeding them on the Sabbath, right? And I think that's important, don't you? I mean, you want to see them, and then you're there with your wife as well, which is an added bonus as well, to show you're together, you're at home.
Yeah.
And they're at home, from your home to their home.
Right. Yeah. I think the other thing that was what I'm going to share too is, so that's kind of the daily thing, the Sunday thing. We started using Zoom. That's new to us, so we did the $15 a month subscription thing so we can do longer and more people. But we had our first elder meeting last Tuesday using Zoom, and that seemed to work well. And then we had a prayer meeting using Zoom, and again, trying to get especially some of our older folks up to speed with that. But they're doing great. I'm really proud of them. They're stepping out, and so those who don't have the video camera capacity, they're calling in on their telephone, and that seems to work. But yeah, it's a new world, a new thing, and thankful for the technology.
No kidding. A lot of us have been doing the online stuff already. You guys had been, and we've got great folks. I have a family, the same family that helps with the podcast here, the one that I call her my executive producer, Emily Booth.
Yeah.
But that whole family is gifted, and her dad and brother have beefed up our media booth for our online stuff, which we had just got to a whole other level for us when this happened. So now we're even more capable. Isn't it funny how God seems to plant the way? This is a big duh. And then right when we need it, he does it ahead of time, so it's there when we need it.
Well, you guys are ahead of us in terms of the live streaming your services. We still don't do that. We were. That's one thing we didn't get done before this happened. Was we really intended to have some live streaming capability, but we just do the audio podcast of the sermon. So you guys are ahead of us in terms of being able to video live stream your worship services. So good job on that.
It's a blessing to have people that know what they're doing, because if it was up to me, we'd still be sitting out in the parking lot in cars, to find how to get this thing done. So thank God for our people, for sure. And I think when it comes down to what we're trying to do now, I have seen churches that never even had attempted to do anything online that are online. They're going to bat for their people. Like I said, to stay connected, because there's still something about all of us together, and you're getting to hear from your pastor on that appointed time each week to keep some kind of normal thing going. So it's a good thing you're doing that.
Yeah, and I know some people are concerned that, well, we'll get used to this, and people won't come back to worship. People won't come back to the sanctuary and meet together, and I just don't buy that. I mean, I think it gives us a taste of what it is to be together. But I think we've learned that it's not a cure-all, and it's not the same, and so it's better than nothing. But man, there's nothing that beats being together, and so I am not fearful personally that people are just going to get used to sitting at home and watching church. I'm not worried about that.
I'm with you. there's times that people are concerned about that. I'm with you too, because I've heard it from more than one.
Yeah.
Man, I miss church. Man, I miss
Right.
being able to come to the building, and it's the whole experience of worship time together between, coming into Sunday school, donut time, even, sitting down, being together, touching each other. So I just miss, we went that one Sunday when everything started going upside down and we came in and we had sanitized everything. We couldn't shake hands. We couldn't hug.
Yeah.
You guys know, I mean, you know that when you see me coming, everybody just braces themselves because I'm a hugger. I'm like a Mack truck. And I had to come in. I felt like a T-Rex. I'm like, hi, how you doing? You couldn't do much. But it leads into how I always want to wrap things up talking to a pastor with this, because two questions. Do you not feel this is some kind of an anointed special time of God that he's really doing
Yes.
something brand new among us all?
I absolutely do. I believe that it's very possible, if not likely, that winds of revival are beginning to blow, because I think that God has shaken us. The things that we use for our security and comfort are slowly being, taken away. There's uncertainty, and yeah, I really believe that God honors it when His people wait patiently for Him, seek Him. If we seek Him with all of our hearts, we will find Him. And I just think that this opportunity that God has given to us to be still, to know that He is God, it really is planting some seeds that I think are going to bear much fruit down the road. Now, it's not going to be easy, so I don't want to just make that seem like it's all going to be sunshine, but I think at times God has to shake us, to wake us. And if we're honest, I think the American church has been kind of sleepy for a while. And I think one of the things that I hope comes out of this is we will learn that the church is so much more than the Sunday gathering. And I think we're getting there. We miss the Sunday gathering, and we want the Sunday gathering. But I think for far too long, we put all our eggs in that Sunday gathering basket to the detriment of, what happens the rest of the week, and being in the church, out in the community. So I think we're being reshaped, reformed in some ways that are good. And now, because I don't want to waste this. This is going to be painful for a while. I don't want to waste the pain. I want God to be able to finish the job and do what it is that He's looking to do within His church, and that starts with me. He's got some work to do in my life, and I don't want to personally waste this season. I want to get what I'm supposed to get out of it, grow, and be on the other side of this, different. And so I hope others will embrace that as well.
Great words. I don't want to waste the season either. If God, I know God is in it, and we talked yesterday when Joseph told his brothers, "You meant this for evil, but God used it for good." So
Right.
God's going to use this for good. He already is.
Yes, He is.
I agree with you that we're going to be different, because when we talk about how much we value gathering on Sunday, it doesn't mean that that's all we do. It's a very important component, but we're a church 7 days a week. I loved how you guys took the food bank and did the drive-by, packaged up, people did the drive-up food bank. Never heard of that before in my life. I thought that was unique and just so simply powerful. So
well, thank you. Thank you.
Because you're taking the ministry and you're adapting it to our times,
Sure.
And I'm sure many, many homes were helped with that. So that was my last question. You answered it some, but if you want to embellish more, when this is all done and we can go back to hugging and picking our noses again and shaking hands and everything, I know we don't have a crystal ball. We don't believe in that, but how do you feel like the church is going to be even better because of this?
Yeah, again, I think we will appreciate the body of believers, more. And I think we will appreciate the potential that the body of believers possesses to make a difference in our world. And so, and I think even in terms of caring for each other, it's not your job to care for everybody in your church. It's not my job to care for. We are called to equip the saints, to equip the body, to create a culture where the body cares for one another. And I think, we have the opportunity with that, to encourage people to say, hey, we believe in the priesthood of all believers, and you have spiritual gifts, and it's your God-given mandate to exercise those spiritual gifts and to make a difference. And so I think, again, when we decentralize a little bit here from the Sunday gathering, it puts more emphasis on the body. And even though the body isn't gathering once a week on Sundays physically, the body's out there, and the body has the potential, even with social distancing, the body has the potential to make a difference. And, that whole social distancing thing is interesting, because I know even personally, I've had some deeper, more meaningful conversations with some people during this season of social distancing than I would have had otherwise. And so, I think physical distancing is probably a better description. Socially, I think we still have the opportunity to go deep with each other through phone calls and through, just as one example, even, I've got an uncle in California that he lives by himself, hadn't talked to him in a long, long time. And just felt like, I need to check on him. I need to pick up the phone. I need to give him a call. Had a wonderful conversation with him. And, just things like that. That's like, I should have been doing that anyway. Why does it take something like this? But same thing within the church.
You catch yourself remembering those things you said you do when you had time.
Yeah.
And God's like, hello, you got time.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of a commercial used to always be on. It was Tom Bosley, the dad on Happy Days. He was the voice of it when I was a kid. You may remember these. He said, remember when you said you'd play ball with your kid next Tuesday? And he goes, it's next Tuesday. And the guy, good parenting, So I'm thinking, I'm right along with you. When we come out of this, we're a body. We're a body, whether it's Sunday or whether it's Thursday. And I think we're learning. What you just said brings home to me the people I need to check on anyway that I should have been doing. I'm thankful God's showing us that even during this season right now, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, before we go, remind us where you're at, how to see your devotions each day, what to look on to see.
Oh, man.
Sunday.
I'm not even sure how to get there. My wife does that.
Well, go upstairs and get her. No.
Yeah, probably just if you look on Facebook, First Baptist Church of Cadillac, I imagine you'll get there. Same thing.
Where the devotions come from and everything from there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. But hey, let me just say before we sign off, and again, I'm not just saying this because you're here either, but just for all your people to hear my heart. I love Brian Farmer, and just so thankful for him and for the ministry of Cherry Grove Church of the Nazarene. And I love you. I appreciate what you're doing. Good work going on there. Good people there. And I walk by that building like my wife. I don't walk by it as much as my wife does, but when I do, man, it's a church I love very much. So keep up the good work.
I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate your friendship and your heart. I love you too. You and your whole family. You're a blessing. And we're here. Need anything?
That's right.
Quarantine or not, anytime, you let us know.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Remember, everybody, we are on TheGroveCast 2, the number 2 at gmail.com. If you have any suggestions for the podcast, you want to see less of my face, maybe an audio only, whatever you want to do, any changes, any suggestions, prayer requests, praise reports, whatever, make sure you hit that up, TheGroveCast number 2 at gmail.com. We're going to be on a lot more during this lock-in time. Consider us your Netflix binge next few weeks. Right. More than likely, Pastor Chad will be the first one of the quarantine edition. So nice. All tag team right here, Ohio State, ready to go. But that's right. That's right. Until next time, we'll see you, Chad. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Brian. My pleasure. Anytime.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.